with coverage you can count on. This is the Erie News Nowcast.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Haley Potter. Thanks for joining us for tonight's edition of the Erie News Nowcast. Allegheny Health Network is administering COVID-19 booster shots for cancer patients getting treatment. AHN St. Vincent started administering a third dose of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine earlier this afternoon. Patients can't get the third dose booster at the same time as their cancer treatment, but it must be scheduled at least 72 hours after or before their treatment. Anyone can get the booster shot as long as they got the Pfizer or the Moderna shot.
Our supply is adequate to be able to roll this out. As is well recognized, the demand for getting vaccinated prior to this new recommendation for a booster has been lower than we'd hope. So we do have supply, have had supply, and therefore that does allow us to move forward very quickly with providing this booster for the immunocompromised patients.
The AHN Cancer Institute staff is contacting patients to schedule the vaccine. Patients can also call the Institute with questions or to schedule their booster. Physicians at the AHN St. Vincent new OBGYN specialty practice are urging pregnant women to get their COVID-19 vaccines if they haven't already. Doctors are seeing a number of pregnant patients who are not as concerned as they should be about the rise in COVID-19 cases and the spread of the more contagious Delta variant. They say research right now shows if expectant mothers contract the virus, their risk of getting very sick is higher than it is for the regular population.
We are finding that more women are getting more severe disease from COVID and are more likely to be on a ventilator in the ICU than their non-pregnant cohorts. So I just want to take a minute to say how important it is to get vaccinated against COVID, even if you're pregnant or breastfeeding. The data we've had so far is showing safety and actually that the infants are getting immunity from the vaccination, whether that be during pregnancy or breastfeeding.
Meantime, the Transportation Security Administration has extended the mask mandate in airports and on planes into January. Tonight, we wanted to know how this could affect travel at the Erie Airport. Erie International Airport Executive Director Derek Martin says there's been no problem with people wearing masks in or outside of the airport. More than a year into the pandemic, he says people know the rules by now, but he's worried this extension could shy people away from traveling in the air. If mandates continue and the pandemic doesn't subside, Martin says there could be more empty seats on the planes.
What the numbers are going to do going forward is going to be interesting with the Delta variants, and also corporate travel is not happening, and these corporations actually are pushing back their return to office dates to later down the road.
The mask mandate for airports and airplanes was set to expire on September 13th. The community blood bank says it's in desperate need of donations right now. They say they only have about 1 day's worth of blood left to serve local hospitals. Blood bank officials say one large accident could drain the local supply. The process is very easy and only takes about 30 minutes. And today, donors receive a voucher to use at the food truck located outside of the center.
When we say critical need, that's putting it lightly. There's no other way to say it, that we are desperate for donors right now. We have less than a 1-day supply of blood. So we're really calling on everybody who hears this message right now to come in and donate to protect the people in your community. We're at a point where if there was any kind of mass accident or trauma or something, we wouldn't be able to supply all the blood needed for that.
If you can donate, the blood bank is located at 2646 Peach Street in Erie. And if you've been wondering how you can help the people in Haiti reeling from that massive earthquake followed by heavy rains and mudslides, you can support Thrifty Threads here in Edinboro. The quake, which left nearly 2,000 dead and 10,000 injured, has turned into a humanitarian crisis. The Thrifty Threads, a used clothing store in Edinboro that's part of Our Lady of the Lake Parish, has been thinking about their brothers and sisters in Haiti. This mission, which takes donations of used clothing and sells the items at reasonable cost, always channels the money raised to those in need. Now they're sending $1,500 to Haiti.
What affects our brothers and sisters in Haiti and around the world affects us as Catholics here in Edinboro, because we're united by our common bond, our common Catholic faith. So we want to help them.
And seeing the things that come in the door and go to good use, and then the money going back out to the needy it's so fulfilling, it really is.
Thrifty Threads has been operating at the church in Edinboro for about 40 years. They have a place to drop off clothing donations 24 hours a day, Again, the clothing isn't going to Haiti. They're sending a cash donation through Catholic Relief Services. Now on to some lighter news. The search is over for Donna Tucker, the woman we put out a social media search for 2 days ago. This custom sign appeared under the Welcome to Erie sign on Monday, surprising the community. We put out calls and social media posts, and nobody knew who Donna Tucker was until today when her friend reached out to the station. We talked to Donna herself, who was born in Erie and now lives in Kentucky, and she says her boyfriend made this custom sign as a sweet gesture and brought her back to her hometown to put it up. Something she tells us is every girl's dream, but nobody ever expects their boyfriend to actually go through with it.
I never thought that he would actually do that. And he calls me one day and he's like, "Hey babe, I got you something." And so I go to his office and he pulls out this big sign. This weekend we came back and did a little sightseeing and he found the spot to hang the sign.
She tells me she hopes this nice gesture raises the bar for other couples and says nobody should settle for anything less. We will hear more from her tonight on Erie News Now at 11. Thanks for joining us for the Erie News Nowcast. Join us for our next news at 10 p.m. on the CW and 11 p.m. on WICU and WSEE. Have a great night.